So remember how I said that I have way too many Kelly Green shirts? Well, not only did I buy another one, but I also bought the matching leggings. I'm basically the Jolly Green Giant. Hello makeup friends, and welcome back to the channel, or if you're new here, then hello and welcome. My name is Kara, and today I'm going to do a get ready with me using some new to me makeup from Kaleidos. I'm going to give you a recap on basically what happened in my life in January. Normally I keep you guys updated with my week in makeup movies. They're not movies, videos. But I didn't do one in January. To be fair, I tried to do one, but my microphone and I had a disagreement in terms of what its sole function is, namely record audio, and it chose not to do that. So, ergo, no video. Let's get into this. So, Kaleidos very kindly sent me over their Alma Viva collection, and I thought we would play with some of that today, put it on the eyes, the lips, the cheeks. So let's go through what's in this collection first and foremost.
Moon in the sky, I'm looking at the moon in the sky. This shouldn't come as a surprise, but I can't sleep. War in my mind, I'm trying to fight a war in my mind. I don't know who's the winner tonight, but it ain't me. Where are you now, when my fears are worse than ever? When the night goes on forever, when I'm losing track of time. Where are you now, when I need you more than ever? When I ain't got shit together, let me know just where you hide. Where are you now? Why aren't you holding me in the midnight hour, saying I'll be fine? Where are you now? Why aren't you here with me, here to calm me down in the midnight hour? Stare into space, it's blinding but I can't look away. The stars connect a million ways, but I see you. Ooh, a light year away, I'm reaching but I can't touch your face. The distance gonna make me insane, it's so cool. Where are you now, when my fears are worse than ever? When the night goes on forever, when I'm losing track of time. Where are you now, when I need...
Okay, so I did my base off camera because none of these products are from Kaleidos, but to walk you through it very quickly, I'm using the Beauty Blender, what is it? The Bounce Skin Tint, which I have in the shade Light 4. For concealer, I'm using this Revlon Colorstay Flex Wear Full Cover Concealer, which I have in the shade Light. And then I set it all into place with the translucent setting veil from Hourglass. Brows are the NYX Brow Glue, which I have in dark brown. And then finally on my lips, I do have the Kaleidos Coconut Oil Lip Treatment, which is a very, very thin consistency. Not entirely sure how I feel about it. I think it's good for makeup prep, but I wouldn't be relying on this for like actual lip balm, lip treatment purposes. Like if I had chapped lips, this wouldn't be my first choice. Okay, now let's get into some of the cheek products. So I'm using one of their blushes as a bronzer. This is in the shade Hot Shot, and you can see why I'm using it as a bronzer. I thought initially that it might be a little bit too light for my skin, but it's actually quite perfect, especially at this time of year where the tan has all but disappeared, and we have not seen the sun in what feels like many months at this point. Although I do have to say that this winter has been like alarmingly warm. Like, we have not had very much snow. We have not had much in the way of cold weather. We did get 1 week of what they refer to as a polar vortex, which is about as horrible as it sounds, where it was, minus 20 with the wind chill. That was kind of awful. But other than that, really no grounds to complain about the winteriness of winter. But it is a little bit alarming from, a climate perspective. Anyways, January. Well, let's start on New Year's Eve, when I ran my very first ever 10K. I was so proud of myself, so blown away. The whole point of running it on New Year's Eve was so that I can do a full year of actually consistent, dedicated running and see what kind of impact that has on my 10K time for New Year's of this year. But the running progress that I have made has just truly blown my mind, because I'm doing things that I literally never thought were possible. I never even considered running 10K prior to this year. Well, I guess 2023. And now I've surpassed that, and it's mind-blowing. If you're following my second channel, you know all about it, but if you're not, I have registered for a half marathon in June. Before we talk about that, here is the blush that I'm going to use. This is in the shade Pale Rose. And again, I thought that it might be a little bit too light for me, but it's not. It's actually really, really flattering and really, really pretty. And it is the blush that I have been using pretty much exclusively since I received this package. So, half marathon, if you're not aware of what that entails, it is 21.1 kilometers of running. Although I suspect rather strongly that I'll be doing a mix of running and walking. That's how I tend to tackle my really long runs. At this point, I'll run 4 or 5 minutes and then I walk 1. And I find I actually go at a much faster overall pace doing that than if I just try to push through with straight running. So why not incorporate some walking in with it too? So I've been following a fairly dedicated plan for that, although I'll probably explore this more on my second channel, but I'm thinking I need a slightly more structured plan than what I have, because my plan just has the kilometers, like how long I'm supposed to run for, but there's no different types of runs. Like there's no interval runs or no long runs, easy runs, anything like that. So I just need something with a little bit more structure so that I can improve that much faster. So I'm exploring some running apps. Okay, before I move on, that blush is so pretty. This is also the blush brush that came with it, and I'm actually really enjoying this as well because it has like just a nice cut. Like it's not too fluffy where you're like overshooting the area that you want, but it's fluffy enough that it blends everything out. So I'm really enjoying the brush that came with it as well. So then we're going to go on to highlighter. This is not part of the Alma Viva collection, but this is from Kaleidos. This is in the shade Gifted, one of their space age highlighters. And this is a little bit more on the like multi-chrome side of things. So I'm just going to go in with a very light hand because a little goes a long way with this one. Okay, so beginning of January, well, throughout December. So let's back it up. My mother passed away on December 4th, and that obviously in and of itself is a big loss to go through, but we did have a strained relationship. We had a very complicated relationship, and after her passing, I was having a really hard time with grieving. I was really not sure how to grieve my mother because I loved her. I did, but I didn't always like her. And I was having there was just a lot going on in my mind. I don't want to get too far into it because it's honestly neither here nor there, and it's not fair to her for me to spill everything. So suffice it to say, I was having a very difficult time, and I finally made the decision that I needed outside help. And I've been circling around the idea of doing therapy for quite a while. I've actually got to the point where I have, signed up for a consultation and then canceled it last minute because I just didn't feel ready, or I felt overwhelmed or scared. And honestly, sometimes I just feel like it's so trite, like, oh, you've got mommy issues, who doesn't, kind of thing. But it was just becoming this all-consuming thing, and it was time to actually get some help. I'm going to use a setting powder. This one is from NARS. It's just their translucent crystal powder, just to smooth everything out. So I've now had 4 or 5 sessions under my belt with my therapist, and I'm already feeling the benefits of it. I'm already feeling very, very validated, and learning terms for things that it's just been my existence, but I didn't know that it was something that so many other people go through. I guess, for example, the most recent term that I learned was traumatic invalidation, and everything that was being explained to me about it, virtually everything completely resonated. And so at one point, my therapist shares on her screen handouts and different sheets about infographics, basically. And she asked me, do you find this overwhelming or do you find it helpful? Because, people have different reactions to it. I'll talk as I do my eyes. I'm going to use the Venus Trap palette. Nice little cool toned palette here. So I actually told her, I feel a lot of relief seeing that the things that I have been telling myself are just me, nobody else would understand, nobody else has gone through this, are so common, in fact, that it actually has a name, and there's actually a shareable worksheet on it. That is incredibly validating for me, and also just goes to show that I'm in the right place. People struggle with this enough that therapists are armed with the materials to deal with it. So it has really opened my eyes in that sense. And we're not just dealing with my relationship with my mom and putting some things in the past that need to be handled and dealt with and processed, but also a lot of just my overall anxiety and unhelpful thinking behaviors, and patterns that I've fallen into, and just sort of the standards that I set for myself, and basically how I get in my own way. And so going through that process with her has been just very, very helpful. And I have no doubt that there's still a lot of work to be done, but I'm just kind of trusting the process at this point, because I come out of each session thinking oh my God, I'm not just in this boat on my own. There are other people. This is something that people can understand, and I can actually get help on how to cope with all these feelings, and that in and of itself is helpful. So I am enjoying the process. It's not always easy, but I feel like I'm in good hands, and I'm like I said, I'm just trusting the process. So all that to say, there has been some interesting emotional revelations and whatnot throughout January, and my biggest trial that came up for me personally was the funeral of my mom, which we had midway through the month. And I was so stressed about it. I was so worried that I hadn't done enough, that it wasn't going to be a successful funeral. Again, these are the kind of things that I'm addressing with the therapist, because is there a gold standard for funerals? But ultimately, the funeral obviously occurred, and it went without a hitch. And it was just really nice to see family that I haven't seen in years. There were family members there that I haven't seen since I was a kid. And so it was a nice time of quiet reflection. And, I've been to so many funerals in my life, and, there's something different when the funeral is for somebody in their 90s, somebody who's at a very advanced age and has died not due to, a car accident or an illness or something like that, but just basically life has run its course. And so it feels like a completion. You know, I've been to funerals for literal babies. I've been to funerals for children. I've been to funerals for people in their 30s, things like that. And there's always just this extra layer of tragedy and awfulness to them. And yet you have a funeral for somebody who's in their 90s, and it does very much feel more like a celebration of life. So if there's one small sort of positive in that, there it was. But at the funeral as well, speaking of family that I haven't seen in many years, was my bio mom. And I hadn't seen her in about a decade. So I thought that she knew that I had had weight loss surgery, but apparently she didn't. So she was like, "Is that you?" She didn't recognize me. 120 pounds less, so, I'll give her the pass on that one. But she came up to me at one point and she was almost in tears, and she thought, "I thought you hated me." Like, I really don't, but it's amazing how quickly time passes, right? Like, we always have these intentions of like, "Oh, we'll get together, or I'll give you a call later, or we'll do lunch," and it just keeps getting kicked down the line, and before you know it, 10 years has passed. Like, it sounds absurd, but I know I'm not alone in that. And the same thing happens with my family. We get together for funerals, or the rare occasion that there's a wedding. We get together for that, and everybody drops everything and makes the time for it. And yet we very rarely proactively schedule family time and family get-togethers, and we're not that scattered. I mean, we all live probably within like a 4-hour radius of each other. So not super convenient, but not like the other side of the country kind of deal. So it's just amazing the priorities and how time kind of escapes us. Now, the magic with these Kaleidos quads really happens with the glitter or shimmer, or however you want to term this. I would call it a glitter. It's not a pressed glitter. It's much more like an eyeshadow, but it is so sparkly that it may as well be a pressed glitter. And I can't say that there won't be any fallout, because it will rain down eventually. Now, I'm not using a glitter glue. That would certainly give it the best chance possible to like really adhere. But it's so stunningly beautiful and really brings life to the look. Like, it's gorgeous. So before we round out the month, there's honestly not that much more that happened in my life this month. I did mention when I was doing my eyeshadow palette declutter video that I do have some items to do a giveaway with, but that I don't enjoy writing giveaway in the title, because when I do, I end up getting comments from people that I've never seen on this channel before and I never see again. So if you have watched to this point, you've reached my first surprise giveaway. Yay! So when Kaleidos reached out to me to gauge my interest in this collection, I will say I do receive PR from Kaleidos. I don't get paid to post about it, and I don't even have an affiliate link with them, so I literally have no horse in the race. They just give me product, which I'm very, very grateful for, and I happen to absolutely love their products. So it is a company and a brand that I'm quite happy to showcase like this, even though I literally have no financial stake in whether you guys buy any of their products or not. So at any rate, when they reached out to me, they did ask, is there anything else that you would like from our site, or from us, I guess, to restock or to replace or anything of that sort. And I asked them for a cold brew quad, because I'd like to give one away. And so not only did they send me the cold brew quad, but they also sent me the one called Black Jasmine. This here, this is cold brew, and it is one of my absolute favorite neutral palettes that I have. Gets a lot of use. And then this one is Black Jasmine. Gets significantly less use, but let me tell you, when I want something super dramatic, this delivers. So they've sent me one of each. It's all individually wrapped in here. I have not taken it out of its packaging. So these are going to go to one of you. And I don't want to make super complicated entry rules, like you don't need to follow me and do this and make a blood sacrifice and all that kind of crap. How about just leave an emoji down below. Whatever your favorite food is out of the food options in the emojis, leave that down below. I will consider that to be your entry. You can enter, say, up to 3 times each. And then I will do a randomized draw, 9 p.m. on February 6th. 9 p.m. You know what? I need to write that down because it'll fall out of my brain. At that point, I will make an announcement in the community post or the community tab, and you can check there to see who won the giveaway. Okay, I am going to apply lips and then I'll do the liner and the lashes off camera. But this is one of their lip glosses. This is in specific the Untamed Glow Gloss in Last Smoke. And I have been wearing the hell out of these glosses since they sent me this package as well. They just have a really nice consistency to them. They are not thick, yet they're not oily. They don't feather, but they don't get sticky. There's no stickiness at all to them. There's no scent to it. They have a nice amount of pigment to them, but it's not like a high risk pigment where if it smears, it's going to stain, anything like that. It's not like super long wearing. It's a lip gloss, but it's super easy to touch up on the fly. I even really like the packaging on it as well. So I'm a fan of the lip glosses. So let me just finish up and then I'll come back and say goodbye. And there we go. Disproportionately glamorous makeup compared to, you know, the all green tracksuit and the dinosaur earrings. But I'm not complaining if you're not complaining. Gotta love it. Anyways, that was my January in a nutshell. I guess the only thing I didn't tell you about was that I've returned to swimming lessons and I am working very hard to fit swimming into my schedule as well, but the running is definitely taking the majority of my energy at this point. Anyways, let me know, what do you think about Kaleidos? Did you pick up anything from this collection? Are you tempted by anything? What do you hope they come out with this year? As much as I'm loving the quads, I would love to see them go back to their fuller size palettes, but with less bulky packaging. That is what I'm hoping for from them. I'd also love to see them try their hand at bullet lipsticks and maybe branch out and bring some like unique, interesting colors to their mix as well. So those are my hopes. Anyways, thank you for taking the time to watch. I will see you in my next video, and until then, just be a decent human being. Bye for now. Generally speaking, you can tell the state of my mental health based on the earrings that I'm choosing to wear. For example, little nom nom dinosaurs. Things are going pretty good in my life.